Okay, so, hey, my name's Michael, if you don't know me, and basically I'm just responding to Roger Ebert's review of Thor, which I thought was a little, I don't even know where to start. It's not so much that he's wrong in any case, but he's very almost bitter about it. And I think it stems from a few things, and I might get into some of them, but maybe not. We'll just see. And I'm going to be looking up at the screen here, because I got stuff up here I'm reading from, but, okay, so, basically, Roger Ebert gave this movie Thor, like, a pretty negative review. He gave it, like, 1.5 stars, which I guess isn't important, but, he basically said the film was for children, and, it's masked behind special effects and whatnot. I personally, I didn't think it was a perfect movie by any means, and I think that there are better superhero movies, and I think there are better movies in general, but I think that I don't think there's anything really wrong with the movie. And I think it's a pretty solid film, and I think a lot of the problems that he has with the film are things that he doesn't understand. So I was going to go through a few of those things. But yeah, the review, and he posted a review, and then he posted a kind of like a retort, I guess you could say, of what people had commented on his review, so, I'll post links to that, but basically, it's just a complaint about the movie, is basically what his review is. One of the big things about it is that, his complaint is that, certain things aren't explained, or they don't make sense, and it's that he doesn't understand them in the film. And so in his retort, like I said, he had a retort, he basically made fun of people because they said it was in the source material, or he said it was. I don't think anyone else said, or maybe some people did, I don't know. But my thing is that most of the things that he's complaining about were actually in the movie, and if you were paying attention, you could understand where it was coming from and where the story was going. Okay, so and this doesn't really, I don't think this necessarily has anything to do with the source material, but he complained about the villain, who was Loki, and I'm going to try not to spoil it too much, but if you know Thor, you know who Loki is, right? He's this specific kind of villain. And you kind of know, and you get to expect what kind of character he is. But if you're a person who hasn't seen a Marvel film, or doesn't know about Thor, or doesn't know about, these characters, you're not going to know who Loki is, and you're going to come into the film with no particular expectation about that character. So, in the beginning of the movie, let me stop for a second. So Ebert was complaining that he's just a bad character, and he's not interesting because he's bad. And, I think to me, I personally knew about the character, so it wasn't a surprise, but I like the way that they kind of revealed who the character was as the movie went on, because he's not clearly the villain from the beginning, right? And so, basically Ebert was complaining, oh, he's not like Dr. Octopus, and he's not like, so-and-so, so, he was a bad villain, and I think that's completely wrong, I think he's a really good villain. It's not obvious, I think, because you have to understand the character, and if you don't understand the character, he's not going to resonate with you. So, yeah, that was one thing. Another thing he complained about was, like, okay, so there's, and this is like a huge part of the movie, right? This is like it's a main part of the movie. It's pretty key to understand what this is. Okay, so in the film, there's this gate or portal or whatever you want to call it, called the Bifrost, that allows people to travel from Asgard, or I should say gods, to travel from Asgard to pretty much wherever. And it's their portal to get from one place to another. It's kind of like the game Portal, you know, like you go through a portal and you end up in another spot. So, and I guess people were talking to him and they were saying, oh, it's not this, it's this, and it's not this, it's this, and I don't know if he ever really picked up on what it actually is. And I think it's not the name that's important, it's just understanding what it does and what it is, okay? It's called the Bifrost, but it's just getting from one place to another. It's a doorway from their world into another world, right? So that's important. And if you see the movie, you understand why it's important, or you should, because if you don't, you're not going to like the movie. So, and it's not like it's something that's in the comics, okay? Like, I don't know a whole lot about Thor. This is one thing I kind of do know a little bit about, but it's not like you have to read the comics thoroughly. It's explained heavily in the movie, okay? It's in the movie, alright? Trust me, okay? So, like, for example, in his review, he says, I believe, but I cannot promise you that Jotunheim, that's where the frost giants are, and Asgard, that's where the gods like Thor and Odin are linked by a bridge. Although this bridge also seems to be the way Thor reaches Earth, so perhaps it's more of a gateway through time and space. It's like he doesn't know. Like, clearly, from what I just told you, what I just recited, he doesn't know what it does. So, like, okay, like, if you see the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about, but it's pretty important. Like, you can't just kind of gloss over, well, what does that part do? It's like, if you, like, I don't even know where to start. It's like if you didn't know what the Death Star was in Star Wars. Like, you couldn't like Star Wars if you didn't know what the Death Star was, because it's, like, important in the movie, right? Okay, so, yeah, it's like talked about in the movie extensively, like, they're reading in a book, and the Bifrost is in there, and, like, you know, they travel from Asgard to Earth, and there's a guardian. It's very clearly stated in the movie, and it's clear that he doesn't understand what this is. So I think, and a lot of people were complaining, did you even see the movie? And I think that is a good, I mean, I don't think he's lying, but it's a good question to ask if someone doesn't know that, right? Because it's like, how do you miss that? I don't know. Anyway, but of course you're going to think it's a bad movie if you don't understand that part. Okay. And then another thing was, there's just a few more things, but they're very short. But he also complained, why is Thor, at one point he's banished to Earth. Why is he sent to New Mexico, and why is he not sent to, say, San Francisco? I think his point was just to say, why not to a large city? Why not to, like, New York or someplace interesting? And, like, my personal thought process was, okay, Odin is punishing Thor, so why would he send him to San Francisco? You're not going to send him to someplace fun. You're going to send him to some, like, total crap hole. You're going to send him to, like, a really bad place where it's not fun, it's boring, there's nothing to do, and he has no powers, right? That's what you're going to do. And I think that was, like, kind of the point of it. Like, you're sending him to this, like, dumpy place, and it sucks, okay? Like, especially compared to Asgard, which is, like, you know? And then, okay. And then, like, okay, this is another thing. This is, like, this isn't even like a plot point, but Ebert said the hammer is boring. And like, that's just like something, to me, that's childish. Like, you call it a movie for children, but you say the hammer's boring. I don't like the hammer's boring. Like, what the hell does that mean? Like, you don't like the hammer? Like, are only swords cool, or only guns cool? I don't know. I mean, what weapons are cool and what are boring? I don't understand, like, what even saying it's boring means. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that some of his points are, like, there's a point to what he's saying, and I understand it. And I think that some of the characters are a little flat at times. They're not as deep as you might want, but, like, for Thor, I mean, like, it's, like, I don't care at all about the character Thor, but I thought it was a good movie because of the way that they connect the characters, of, you know, like, I know, like, he doesn't like special effects, he doesn't like 3D, but it looked good. Like, it was a good-looking movie. There were no plot holes. I think he thinks that there are plot holes, but those plot holes that he thinks are there are not there. He just didn't catch on in the movie. And, yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I missed. But, like, yeah, I mean, like, I think the one other thing that was mentioned, there was something about, like, yeah, like, what is the hammer? Like, why can't people pick it up? Or he maybe understood that part, but it's like, that's in the movie, and he didn't understand what Asgard is. Like, what is Asgard? Is it like heaven, or what? Like, it's in the movie. You have to watch the movie to understand what it's in. And I'm not going to ruin it, but it's in the movie. And, like, okay, personally, to me, I don't think that this movie is up to, like, The Dark Knight or Iron Man. I don't think it's as good as Iron Man 2 either. But if you watch all the Marvel movies, there's some really crappy ones, okay? There's Punisher, there's Daredevil, there's Fantastic Four, there's Fantastic Four 2, which is probably worse than the first one, which is amazing, but, you know, there's a lot of crappy ones, and I think that it's pretty decent. Like, it's a solid movie, it doesn't suck, it is reliable, like, it makes sense, and it's interesting, and if you like the comics, you're not going to think it sucks. But I think you have to pay attention. It's a hard movie to grasp, I think. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell, you know, I don't know if Mr. Ebert will ever watch this, but, you know, I think it's not a childish movie. I think the plot is very solid, and it makes sense. You might not like it, but it makes sense. And I think to like the movie, you have to understand it. So, maybe just watch it again. Alright? Alright, thank you.